Hello and welcome to the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lily Badcock and I am a transformational confidence coach and founder of the Confidence Academy Members Club, helping men and women just like you to build unshakable confidence and self-belief. Each week, I will be bringing you new episodes with advice and guidance to help you rebuild lost confidence, manage anxiety, and finally start living the life you were born to live. It is my aim to reach as many people as possible with the message that no matter what you're going through, no matter what your struggle may be, there is hope. And there is a way to create an amazing life for yourself. The incredible people I have been blessed to interview on the show are walking, talking examples of how this is possible. And I truly hope you will find their stories uplifting, inspiring, and motivational. The conversations are very open and candid and occasionally may include some adult language, so please take care when listening around little ones or grab some headphones. This podcast series is brought to you in association with Lily Badcock Confidence Coaching and the Confidence Academy Members Club. If you are ready to make the shift from anxious and frustrated to calm and confident, then visit www.lilybadcock.com today and get started with the free resources that are waiting there for you. I need you to know that you're not alone, that it can and will get easier, and that the transformation you seek is possible. You are more powerful than you know, and I'm here to teach you everything I know about harnessing that power and creating an amazing life on your terms. Before we dive in, don't forget to leave a review for us on iTunes and to check out the links in the podcast notes to the free resources we have available for you. But for now, let's get you on your way to living your epic life, free of anxiety and full of confidence. After all, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. Hello, welcome back to the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lily Badcock and today I'm speaking to Georgina Noel, who's all the way over in the Channel Islands, Jersey. So Georgina, hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So Georgina is, well, we had a bit of a discussion about what you are and what you do. So, you are a coach and you work intuitively, but you use, I'm guessing, like a whole bunch of different modalities and different things. And so it can be very difficult to pinpoint exactly, to put it in a nutshell, basically, of who you are and what you do. So at this point, we're not even going to try. We're just going to let you tell your story, give us a little bit of background. I will say that Georgina works with EFT, which I know I've spoken about before, but for anyone new to the podcast or anyone who doesn't know what EFT stands for, it's Emotional Freedom Technique, or otherwise known as tapping. So I will not try and explain any more than that because I will let Georgina do that, seeing as she's the expert. But what you also do is something called matrix imprinting. And I've had a very limited experience of matrix imprinting. I've done it one time. Somebody that I know also does it, and they did a session on me once, just sort of an impromptu thing, really because I was like, oh, that sounds cool, like let's do that. So I would love to learn more about that, and I will let you explain what that is as well. But let's kick off by hearing a little bit about who you are, why you do what you do, and the story that brought you to where you are right now in your life doing the work that you do.
Cool. Well, the thing that brought me to where I am now is that, oh my goodness, this is quite bad. I can't even remember how many years ago it was, which I guess is a good sign because it means that I've healed a lot of the trauma around it. But I think it was around 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. A very, very close friend of mine committed suicide. And when that happened, it felt like the expression that feels like the rug's been pulled out from under you. And I basically felt like someone had kind of tipped me upside down, emptied my brains onto the floor, stamped around them in a bit, and squashed them back into my head and gone, right, there you go. Get on with your life then. Back off.
Yeah. As you were.
Had to suddenly do life, but with this massive pit of despair and fear, and just suddenly, I don't know if anyone out there has experienced someone committing suicide, but for me, it felt like, fuck, anything can happen. Like, anything can happen. And as much as that might be an exciting thing, like, woo, anything can happen, when you've just had someone hang themselves, it's like, oh shit, anything can happen. Like, I'm not safe. And it just rocked my world in terms of like what it meant to feel safe, what it meant to feel sure of myself or of things, of the world around me. So everything just suddenly was a question. Everything was tossed up in the air, and I didn't know how to make sense of the world anymore. And I just had a lot of bad feelings inside of my body, and just, it was very dark. And I remember saying to the first lady that I went to for EFT that it felt like the lights had gone off in the world, and I didn't know how I was going to switch them back on again, because it just didn't feel possible that life could ever be okay again. And I guess I'd struggled with anxiety and depression even before this had happened, which is probably why I attracted this situation and these people into my life. Like, I had a lot of people with mental health issues in my life, like to varying degrees. And I guess because that's what I was vibrating at that level at that time. So I had a lot of those people around me. And so after my friend Fran died, I had to put my life back together, basically. And so I didn't really know where to start, if I'm honest. I remember looking in the mirror one day, and looking in the car mirror, and I saw my eyes, and I just burst out crying, because I was like, I don't know who this person is looking back at me. I didn't recognize my own face, because when I looked at the eyes, I just saw this pit of sadness. And it was like palpable. And I just thought, how can anyone be around me right now? Because I didn't want to be around the way I was feeling. And so I kind of isolated myself more and more. And then eventually my back got bad, which doesn't seem related. But I went to a chiropractor, and I was like, yeah, back pain, don't know where it came from, blah, blah, blah. And in her introductory meeting with me, she said, oh, so has anything happened to you in the last, 12, 18 months? And I was like, well, this has happened, that's happened. My friend killed himself. And she's like, hang on, whoa. Let's rewind. What was that about your friend killing himself? And I was like, oh yeah, that old thing. And then she introduced me to EFT, basically, and she just said, maybe it will help. And at that point, if you'd have said to me, stick pins in your eyes, it will help you feel better, I'd have gone, yeah, all right, whatever. Because I was so desperate to feel better.
Yeah.
I did one session, and then I got in my car afterwards, and I was like, I feel different. And I couldn't put my finger on why. I just felt different, like some more spacious, like I had air in my lungs. It was weird. And I sat in my car, and I remember thinking, like, actually, again, this might sound very peculiar, but I actually sat there trying to think about people killing themselves, because that was the thing that was happening, is like, I basically generalized, and anyone who looked even vaguely sad, like, even if they weren't sad, if I perceived them to look sad, I was like, oh my God, they're going to die. They're going to kill themselves. Panic. And it felt real in my body. So I sat in the car trying to think about it. And it was like the thoughts entered my head, hit a trampoline, and just bounced out. And I didn't feel them anymore.
Right.
So, and it's not about not feeling. It's not about becoming like an unfeeling robot humanoid. It's about those feelings that I were having were completely irrational, and they were like just sabotaging everything. I was ruminating on all of the bad shit, and I wasn't allowing myself to see anything positive at the time. So for me to have that shift from everyone's going to die to suddenly feeling like, oh, I can't even think about this happening anymore. It just doesn't resonate. I can't feel it in my body anymore. That was enough for me to know there is some magic at play here. And then after that, I was like, right, that's it. I need to know more about this crazy freaking tapping stuff.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was just completely hooked, and I had to know all of the things.
Amazing. And so now that forms a large part of how you work with people.
And so I just want to go back, because obviously I've done EFT. I know what it is. I know it works as well. And the funny thing is, I'm going to say this right off the bat, because when we start to explain what it is and how it works, some people are going to be like, fuck off. Like, there's no way, like, what a bunch of shit. There's no way that can work. I thought the same thing. It will work regardless. Even the only way it won't work is if you don't try it. So it's going to be hard for us to demonstrate on the podcast, but we've already discussed Georgina coming into the members club that goes with the podcast to do a masterclass in EFT. So if anybody would like to go further with this after we've explained it, and you want to actually give it a try, then get yourself over to the Confidence Academy members club and get in there ready for that masterclass, and we'll let you know when we know when that's going to happen. I'll keep you informed. But my first experience of EFT was when I was at a conference. Actually, conference makes it sound really boring. It was like a day retreat thing. And, even that had come up at a point in my life where I was feeling a little bit at a crossroads, and this advert popped up on Facebook and was like, are you feeling stuck in your life? I was like, yes. And it was like, do you need some direction? I was like, yes. And it was like, then you need to come to this thing. And I was like, well, okay then. And I booked my ticket and I went. And one of the ladies did EFT, and she came out, and her whole thing was based on the subject of love, self-love and love from parents and other people's place. Mm-hmm. So I immediately didn't really resonate with her, because at that point I didn't realise I had a self-love issue. And I've had a really lovely upbringing. I get on great with my parents, and she was talking a lot about broken kind of parent to child relationships. So I didn't really get it. But when she went to do the exercises, I was like, well, I'm the only chump sat here in the room that isn't going to be doing it, so I'm just going to do it anyway. And as we were doing it, I was thinking, well, this is some next level weird shit. Like, I've never, we've entered the twilight zone now. Like, thank God I came on my own, because what the fuck is this? But I did it. And like you said, I just felt lifted afterwards. And that was when she tapped on something that I didn't even resonate with. So that was what piqued my interest, because then I was like, well, if it can have that effect on something that I don't even relate to, how powerful is it going to be when I actually do relate to it? And so since then I've tried it. I did it with anxiety. I've done it around money beliefs and really just panic in general. I even tapped in the queue of a ride in Florida, because I get really anxious about getting on rides. But my husband wanted me to do it, and it wasn't even a roller coaster. It was just this little kind of water raft thing, but I'm a massive wuss. So I was tapping in the queue, going, I'm safe, I am loved, and all is well. And I'm safe, I am loved, and all is well. And he was like, are you doing that tapping thing? And I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, he's so weird. And I was like, well, yeah, but watch, I'm going to get on this ride. And I got on it. And we didn't have any of the drama that we normally have, where I get on and then go, I can't do it, get me off. So it calmed me enough that I could get on this ride. Now, that sounds like a silly example, because who gives a shit if you get on a ride or not? But it's just proof that
life. Who does? Yeah. You give a shit.
Exactly.
It's not about like, oh, childhood trauma or like massive trauma. It's about we call it like, we've got traumas with a big T and traumas with a little t. So you've got your big T's, you've got things like rape, abuse, that kind of thing, bereavements, all of that kind of big trauma that obviously you're going to look back through your life and go, well, of course that has impacted me. But there are small things. There are people who have gone their entire lives feeling like they're not safe in the world because their dad slammed a door. Or, like when you're 0 to 6 years old, you're basically in a state of hypnosis. So everything that's happening around you, you're just absorbing it and making it mean stuff. And then when you hit 6 or 7, you've basically got your blueprint. And it's like, off you go. There's all your limiting beliefs and all the crazy shit you picked up in your childhood. Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that. See you in 20 years when you're trying to still figure that shit out. Yeah, so
my friends who've got kids, like, just give them my card. It's fine.
Yeah.
Card and send them away in about 12 years.
Oh God, it's funny as well, because as a parent, and I know this because I've learned this, I'm so mindful now. Like, I said to my dad the other day, I just noticed things I say to my children that I'm just spouting because my parents said it to me. And then as it leaves my mouth, I'm like, I don't actually believe that. So then I feel like I'm trying to explain to a 6-year-old, you know, like I'll say things like, oh, you can't just have what you want. And then in my head, I'm like, you can have everything you want. Like, that's not what I believe. I believe they can have anything they want. So then I'm trying to explain to a 6-year-old how they can have anything they want, except not that chocolate bar right now because it's tea time. So, you know, but I'm really mindful of the fact that, oh my God, I'm forming these human beings. And
I always say,
yeah.
When I'm an EFT trainer as well, so I train people how to become EFT practitioners, and I always say in my training to the parents, like that, because this happens, like when I explain how it all works, all the parents in the room just go green and they're like, oh my God, I'm totally screwing up my children. And I say, like, don't worry, because they've been sent to you for a reason, and you're going to fuck them up in exactly the perfect way for them. Like, don't worry about it, because whether you try to or whether you don't, you're going to fuck them up. So just like enjoy the process and just let it go. Like, don't worry about it, they'll be fine. And I also, one of the big things I always say in my trainings is heal the parent, heal the child. Because like you're saying there, you know, you hear yourself saying things and you're like, well, and you know, you're a conscious human being, you're awake. Imagine all these poor sods who are walking around that haven't even considered the fact that what they're saying might not actually be what they believe, and they're just kind of like in autopilot, and they're just passing the shit down generation to generation. I mean, at least you're kind of questioning it, and the people listening to this podcast are the kind of people who question their decisions and what they're saying to their children. So you're like streets ahead of some people.
No, I love that. And obviously it's the human experience. Like, we came down to get it all messed up and then put it all back together. It's part, you know, it's the reason why people pull cars apart and then rebuild them. It's just fun, isn't it? Shits and giggles. Yeah. So with the EFT though, for someone who maybe has never heard of it, or maybe they've heard the term, they know what it stands for, but they don't really know what that means. Can you just explain a little bit about how it works, like what it is physically, what tapping means, and how it works and why it works? Because I think that's where a lot of the disconnect is. That is the best laugh in the world that I've ever heard, by the way.
If anyone was in doubt that I'm a witch, the laugh proves it. Like, I can't hide it.
I love it. A full-on cackle.
The reason I laugh is because, again, even when I do my EFT trainings, I say to people, look, guys, I don't really know how or why this works, but just and when you feel it, you will know. And they're like, oh.
I love it. I love it.
So basically, if you want some like science and shit, what happens is when you tap on these certain points in the body, they're the ends of meridian lines. Mm-hmm. So they're like you would do an acupressure or reflexology or anything like that. All of those Chinese medicine things that you hear about, they work with the meridians, which are energy channels in the body. Mm-hmm. And so when you're tapping, you're actually tapping on meridian points. And what's happening scientifically, physiologically, chemically in the body is that you are actually reducing the amount of cortisol in the bloodstream. So for those of you who don't know, of course you will do, but for those of you who don't know, cortisol is a stress hormone. So what can happen when you have a big emotional release and you've done a bit of tapping around something, you can actually feel quite tired, because it's like if you imagine someone who's addicted to coffee and they have like 5 coffees a day, and then you say you can't have any coffee tomorrow, they'll be fucking knackered because they've had this stimulant running through their bloodstream, so they've almost depended on it. And the same is true of cortisol, stress and anxiety. Because they produce cortisol and adrenaline in your bloodstream, you get used to operating at a certain vibration. And because the vibrations of excitement and anxiety are so fucking similar, like fear is excitement with the brakes on. I remember hearing that years ago and thinking that is amazing, because fear, excitement, panic, the anxiety, they're all very, very close energetically in the body. We've just given them different labels. But if you were to explain to me what's happening in your body when you're anxious or when you're excited, it probably sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so it's allowing ourselves to understand that we can actually get addicted to stress and anxiety because it kind of feels like excitement in our body. And if we don't have it, we almost don't feel alive. So that might sound a bit crazy to somebody who's struggling with anxiety right now. You might think, fuck you, Noel. I'm no way addicted to this. I want to get rid of it. And I hear you. Trust me, holy fuckballs. I hear you because I go through it myself. And all I can say is, if you can at least allow yourself to be open to that concept, what you can then do is go, oh, right, well, if I have a choice here, maybe I can choose a different feeling and slip into excitement or into kind of feeling like adrenalized and positive about this situation rather than feeling scared and panicky.
Yeah.
So the tapping will help get rid of the cortisol. And that's why it will calm your system down. So it's super quick, super powerful. I even did it this morning for something in my journal around, this is how quick it is. This is like legit manifestation, how fucking quick tapping is. This morning I was journaling and I noticed that I had built up a resistance around seeing notifications in my inbox. And whenever I saw someone had messaged me, I immediately went into, oh no, something else I have to deal with, rather than, oh my God, this might be a new client and I get to change your life. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And so I was immediately resisting it. And I was like, well, that's not a good message to send the universe. And so I literally did some tapping, even though I've got this resistance to my inbox, I accept myself anyway, tapped through the points once, did a burp. And then when I came to my phone about 20 minutes later, I'm not shitting you, I had an inquiry for a retreat that I'm running in 2 weeks. I was
amazing.
I can't make this shit up. Like, it works so fucking quickly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I want to say as well, you just mentioned that you tapped on it and then you did a burp and you were okay. So for those of you who don't know, I've come across this a lot. People that work with energy often have a release of some description. So I had a meditation that some lady had as a freebie, and she was belching like a trooper all the way through it. But she said at the top, she was like, oh, I'm really sorry if I keep burping, but it's the energy releasing. And I was like, oh, I love that. So yeah, so next time my dad tells me off for burping, I'll be like, I'm releasing energy, dude. Back off.
I'm just shifting, Dad. I'm just shifting to new levels of consciousness. Don't worry about me.
I'm expanding my mind, man. Don't be up in my face. So that's what that's all about. But yeah, so you know, and I mean, I guess if you're listening to this and you're still thinking what a load of bollocks, then you know, it's your life. You do what you like. But if you are riddled with anxiety, or even not even riddled with it, but if it's showing up and it's wrecking your life, it's getting in the way of you having a fuck ton of fun, then what have you got to lose? Like, try it. You will be shifted, and then you'll be just like Georgina. You won't quite know why or how it works, but you'll be pleased that you did it. And then it will become something that you do on a regular basis. And you can literally tap for anything, can't you? It's like anything that comes up. I mean, like I say, definitely have done it for anxiety. I've used it on, and I'm not a trained EFT practitioner, and I always say this up front, but I do tell people about it because I know how much it works. So even with singing clients, when they've been nervous, I'm like, oh, you can do this thing. Like, this is the start of it. Like, I'm not qualified, but this is what I know. And if you want to do it properly, here's some people you can hit up.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really crazy thing. It will seem nuts when you see it. You'll be like, really? But I just say, like anything else on this podcast, come with an open mind. If you truly are looking for a way to shift the way that you're feeling, this is going to work. This is going to be one of the things that you try and you go, oh my God, I don't know how, I don't know why, and I feel a bit silly, but I also feel better, so let's do it again.
But I would say, like, make sure that if you're going to work with a practitioner, find someone who you vibe with. So not everyone is going to like my style, you know, and I'm cool with that. Because I train people, I've got, like, you know, a whole tribe of people that I can refer others onto. Yeah. And, you know, you really can use it for anything. Like, I have an online program for weight loss and like body confidence. I have a freebie for money mindset. It's like a 3-day tapping thing for money mindset. And it's 3 days, 3 tapping videos. They're about 15 minutes long. And the emails I get just like, oh my God, I can't believe I had all these memories come up and now I understand why I don't want to receive money and why I can't keep money. And I'm like, I know, this stuff's fucking magic.
Yeah.
And it's just so simple. It's so simple, but it does matter. I believe it does matter who you choose to work with. And I'm not saying that so everyone will go, oh, I need to work with Georgina. I'm genuinely saying that, like, find someone who you resonate with, like any kind of coaching. Be mindful of who you allow into your energetic space, because energy is fucking powerful. And if you're working with someone who you feel is guiding you in a way that doesn't feel good for you, then you're allowed to say, this isn't for me, and find somebody else. But don't let a bad experience of it mean that you never go back. Like if you went to the gym and you didn't like a personal trainer, you'd probably try another personal trainer. So just make sure that if you try EFT or matrix re-imprinting and you don't vibe with the person, don't just give up on it, because the techniques are powerful. But just have a good resonance with whoever it is that you're working with. I just urge you to keep trying until you find someone who you just click with, because you will not regret it.
Yeah, and keep showing up for that dream that you've got as well. If you're listening to this podcast, it's because you know that you don't have to live with your anxiety. You don't have to live feeling like you're lacking confidence. You don't have to live in all the stress and the overwhelm. If you've downloaded a podcast like this, even if you don't realize it, on some level, you're saying, actually, I deserve better than this, and I believe it's possible. Even if that consciously doesn't resonate right now. And that's amazing advice. Like you say, not just for this, but for if you're going to work with anybody, you should be excited to be in that person's energy. I have to say though, I friggin' love you. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I just think it'd be an absolute scream. Like, that's just me personally.
One of my superpowers is being able to have people like weeping and laughing within like a split second. Because in my mind, there's so much darkness that we all carry around with us. And I just think if you look it in the eye and you shine a light on it, you disempower it and you take back control. And it's never as scary as you think it is, because you're not there anymore. And I think, and we forget that, because there's a part of our subconscious that is still playing the same story over and over again. And so we very much feel like we're still that person who made that mistake, who had that horrible thing happen to us. We're not that person anymore. And it's up to us now to heal that part of ourselves and release it, which is what matrix re-imprinting is so great for. But yeah, just keep, like Lily says, just keep showing up for what you know you're meant to be doing on this planet. Because something like EFT, once you've got your head around it, in fact, one of the first rounds that I would call them like tapping rounds, one of the first rounds I'll often do with a new client is, even though I have no idea what this crazy tapping stuff is meant to do, I accept myself anyway, because sometimes people are resistant and they kind of push it away because they don't understand it and they immediately put a block there. But it will still work. It just might not work as quickly if you have to work through that much resistance. And I've totally gone off on one now because I have no idea what I was talking about. But that's fine.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's just what happens when you start me talking about something that I give a shit about. I'm like, I'm off.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, we're just watching you run. It's good. It's good to watch. I do love the idea that that's your superpower. I was trying to think of what your name would be. Like weepy laughing girl. Like, we're gonna have to work on that name. Like,
maybe like the shadow converter. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I like that. The shadow shifter.
Yeah,
I'm waving my arms around for those people that can't see me.
They can feel it in the energy.
Oh, I love it. So you've mentioned a couple of times this other thing as well called matrix re-imprinting. So am I right in saying this is the practice of traveling back and and it's almost like it's the idea that this version of you from before is still floating around somewhere in your body, doling out all the beliefs and all of the lessons that you had, and you can go back to that point in time. So like when my friend did this with me, it was around money mindset, and I went back to my 21-year-old self who was stressing over a bill, and it was only a tiny bill, but I was very stressed out because I couldn't pay it in that moment. And in that moment in my life, I panicked. And what I did as a result of that then snowballed into a bunch of behaviour that followed me for all the years, like even up till now. I think I'm still doing stuff because of that panic that first set in then, when actually, you know, I could have, if I knew then what I know now, I could have just not panicked and dealt with it, and the whole thing would have been different. So is that what matrix re-imprinting is? Because I know there'll be a load of people who've never heard that term before.
So matrix re-imprinting, I don't train in this, but I am a practitioner of it. So matrix re-imprinting is where we go back and we heal like a past trauma. So it can be, again, like a big trauma, little trauma, it doesn't make any difference. Sometimes I'll be working on something that feels really huge for somebody and we'll end up back and they're like 2 years old and they just can't hear where their mum is. And that's all that's happened. Their mum nothing's happened. It's just that they're in a room and they can't find their mum in the house. And so that leads to all this like abandonment and nothing happened. It was just them and they made a decision in that moment. So there's a few things that are really awesome about Matrix, which is, there are so many, where do I begin? 3 hours later, she's still going. The key with Matrix is understanding what was the belief or the decision that you made in that moment. With EFT, you're working on the fight or flight response. With Matrix, you're working on the freeze response. So it's like when something traumatic happens to you, if you imagine that, for example, imagine a big trauma and trying to have your brain process it all in that moment. It physically can't process all the information. So it's like part of you energetically splits off to hold the trauma so that you can go into that. You know, when something happens and you just feel very like, right, I just have to get through this and make sure this happens and get here and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, there's this part of you that's like split off energetically that's freaking the fuck out.
Yes.
You're aware of it, but you still get shit done because you have to.
Yes.
It's like, you know, the people who lift cars off of their children or whatever. So it's like that part of you that's split off is still there. And so Matrix works on the premise that that part of you still exists in space and time.
Right.
Like it's like a web and you're still connected. And the older you get, the more traumas you've built up, and therefore the weaker the web gets and the less resistance you have to feeling those shitty feelings. So the more you start to see shit showing up in your life, because it's like, please deal with this. Deal with this. This shit's going to keep fucking showing up.
Yeah.
So you go back to the memory, and the idea is that generally what will happen when you go back to the memory is that we call them an echo, an energetic hologram. So when you go back to your echo, some people will see them. Some people who are more kinesthetic won't see them. They'll just have a sense of them. So don't worry if you're not like a really visual person. This will still work for you. It's still powerful. I'm kinesthetic, so I know. And you go back and they're very often frozen. They're just not moving. They're just like wide-eyed standing there. And our job then is that the echo becomes our client in that moment. So we tap with them to diffuse the trauma. They'll often have an energetic release like cry, or they need to be angry, and we heal the situation for that part of yourself that never got closure. And then it means that you can release it and let go. And we can also put in a new belief. So it's not changing the past. It's not bringing people back to life or doing any damage or doing any harm. It's purely about rewiring the brain so that you can understand all of the stuff that was happening in that moment. And
right.
you can empower the echo to make a more empowered decision about how they want to believe this,
wow.
what they want to believe in this moment in situation. So you can go from things like the world is not a safe place to I'm always safe. No matter where I am, what's happening around me, I'm always safe. So you can just go in there and change core beliefs right at the root where they happened.
Yeah, and obviously we know anyone who's listened to this podcast for any amount of time will know that your reality is created from your thoughts and therefore your beliefs as well. So this is powerful work to do. And I think, I find it so interesting and I love it. But I think even if you're listening to this and you're just like, oh, I just don't get it, it was still work. Like, this is the beauty of it. It's not, you know, and the thing about energy is it's not really something for you to believe in. It just exists the way that, you know, the way that there are trees outside my window. You know, just because you can't see that there are energy lines in your body, it doesn't mean they're not there. And this isn't like a theory. This isn't just something that someone said, oh, wouldn't it be nice if this was the truth? This is what it is. Like, you just are energy. You're all energy walking around. And if you're feeling out of alignment or any of these negative emotions, then there's energetic work you can do to help yourself not just feel better, but, you know, start to really thrive and feel like you're getting somewhere in your life and not stuck in this loop continually. It's so funny what you said about when something traumatic happens, how we split off. Because when you were talking about that, I just remembered when I first took over the performing arts school that I was running, one of my students had an accident with a door and her finger was almost completely severed while I was there. And that exact thing happened because in my head, I thought, I don't know if anyone ever used to watch Ally McBeal, but there was a program called Ally McBeal who, she was like a lawyer, and she would have situations play out in her head. So you would see how she wanted to react in her head, but then in real life, she'd be very calm and professional and doing the right thing. And in that moment, I felt like Ally McBeal, because on the surface, I was extremely calm and I wrapped the fingers and the bit that was like not really attached anymore. And I somehow knew what to do. Yeah, exactly. I somehow knew what to do. I have no idea how, but the whole time there's this other bit of me going, oh shit, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And the funny thing was, I was completely fine throughout. And, you know, her finger was okay. You know, the paramedic arrived on time, her mum came and it was all fine. And she got, you know, they did surgery the next day and it was cool. I'm still not okay with it though. Like, even now when I retell it, like the panic comes back. And there is that bit of me still that's like, do you know what? I'm still not okay with what happened. Like, I'm so nervous around doors now. If I see people going through doors, especially children.
What was the belief though? If you had to guess, right, just even right now, what was the belief that you made in that moment? Like, what comes to your head?
I'm sure it was because I was a very new principal. It was a big responsibility I'd taken on. And because I know that I tend to massively dramatize everything, I think that in that moment I was like, I'm not responsible. I've caused this. Like, I made it worse. Like, I took on, yeah, that's, and all of that. And, you know, see, I knew you couldn't do it and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, like a huge thing. And, you know, unconsciously, I know it wasn't my fault. I didn't slam the door on her hand. And actually, my reaction to it meant that her finger was saved. So actually, I was a little bit of a hero that day. But I didn't feel like a hero. When I got home, I was trying to tell my husband what had happened. And I just couldn't even, I was like, no, I'm still not okay. I can't talk about that yet. Like, oh, it was so horrific. So it makes sense, and you know, that I can obviously think of other times in my life where that's happened. And I got chills when you said that, you know, you actually coach the echo. Like, you go back and they're frozen in that. Like, that really gave me chills. It was like, holy crap.
And there's, you know, sometimes one of the questions that I'll always ask when we first go into the matrix, I'll always explain it to people and give them, there's the guidelines that I always give before we go in. So it's not something that I necessarily recommend. If you've never worked with a practitioner, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this particular work on your own. I do it for myself all the time, but that's because I know that I'm safe. I can deal with whatever's in there.
Right.
But if you're a newcomer, I would say maybe have 2 or 3 sessions with a practitioner so you get the hang of it before you go trying it on yourself, or go and train in it with somebody and just learn. Like, it's 2 days to train in Matrix. But yeah, so one of the things that I'll often say is, when you look at your echo, how do you feel about her? Because sometimes, like for me, when I first did this, my echo was like a pencil sketch, a pencil drawing, because I was so detached from my inner child at the time that I couldn't see her or tune into her as an actual child. So I could only see her as a pencil drawing. And so I had to turn myself into a sketch in order to go and speak to her. So It's fucking bonkers. Like, it's so crazy. But and also sometimes people, if they have some core beliefs around, or core issues around, like not being able to accept themselves, not feeling lovable, not feeling safe to be loved, all of that stuff. Sometimes when you step in, you'll look at your echo and you just won't even like them very much. You'll be looking at your inner child like, what an asshole, or what a brat, or oh, she's gross, And it's also about healing your relationship with them, because that's super powerful work in itself, to be able to step in and see yourself in any situation and love yourself anyway, and be compassionate, and go in with the presupposition that you are always doing the best that you can in any given moment with the resources that you had at the time. You're a good person, even if you did some fucked up shit. In essence, you're a being of light and you're good. So if you can heal that relationship, you can go back and, just completely transform your life. It's really powerful shit.
Yeah, amazing. What would you say to someone if they kind of liked the idea of it but were nervous about digging up something that they think is buried and done? What would you say to those people?
I'd say come and work with me, because you don't have a choice. Because it's actually never as scary as you think it's going to be. I would, but to be serious, put my serious voice on. When I say come and work with me, what I actually mean is, if you resonate with me, I'm the person for you. If you don't, find someone who resonates with you. Find somebody who you just inherently feel safe in their energy. Mm-hmm. And that's very important. So find someone with who you think, I could connect with this person. Find somebody who, who you connect with. That's the best advice I can possibly give. And once you've found that person, don't be afraid to ask them questions. If they're on social media, take a really good look at the kind of stuff they're putting out into the world to make sure, is this the kind of person that I want to be working with? Do they seem to understand what I'm going through? Yeah, and just feel safe. That is the top thing you can do, is when you tune into working with somebody, do you feel safe around this person's energy? And if you do, and if you feel like they can hold whatever you bring to the table, you're in good hands. And also know that your subconscious will not allow you to go anywhere or do anything that is not safe, because its primary goal in life is to keep you safe, which is why you're in all the shit you're in right now. It's because the subconscious thinks it's keeping you safe.
Yeah.
And it's maybe doing things in not such a supportive way. So by doing this work, you get to change that. But it's always going to protect you. And so know that if you have to go back to the same memory a few times as well, that doesn't mean that what you've done before hasn't worked. It just means that you needed to peel something away and heal something before you could get to the next layer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep going. Choose someone who you feel safe with, and who you just know on a soul level, on a heart level, that you just connect with that person, and that they can hold whatever big shit you bring to them.
Yeah, amazing. And I want to say as well, I say it a lot on this podcast, but only because I know that that's how it was for me, and I know that even now, it still shows up, which is when you're feeling very heavy and burdened down with those feelings of anxiety, depression, stress, overwhelm, and all of those things, it's very easy to discount the things that are going to help you. It's very easy to listen to something like this and go, oh, that might work for that person, but it could never work for me. Or, you may even come up with what seem like legitimate reasons not to give it a try. Mm-hmm. And as I've said a million times before, it's all good. And you never give your power away, even when you feel powerless. You actually haven't given your power away. You have the power to choose. And in that moment, the right choice for you may be to not take the action, and to not follow up, and to not download the freebie that we're going to talk about in a minute, and to not, go and find the coach, or to take the steps. But anytime you start to tell yourself that you can't be helped, or that you're stuck where you are and that you can't move forward, I want you to call BS on your own BS and just know that it's actually bullshit. And you can change it as soon as you're ready to. And that may be with a coach like Georgina, it may be with EFT, it may be with something completely different. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to find the modality that works for them. There are going to be people who really resonate with this. There are going to be people who are like, what the hell did I just listen to? Like, like what the hell is that? They'll still be here because they won't be able to look away. It's like, you know, like, what is this madness? But they'll be like, you know, but then maybe that's not for you, but that's okay. Like, everything isn't for everybody. But the whole point of this podcast is to say, you know, you can thrive in spite of your anxiety. It's not even that you don't even have to have it figured out. You don't even have to overcome it. Just know that you get to shine anyway. Like Georgina said it, you're a beautiful ball of gorgeous light. Like, go and do that, you know, get back to that.
By your anxiety, like
totally.
It's a label, it's a vibration in your body. And I'm not discrediting it, because, you know, even this morning I had something that happened and I was like, oh, I felt myself feeling anxious about it. Like, oh no, I've been misunderstood. Someone's misinterpreted me. Oh no, I'm anxious. And I was like, hang on a minute. Like, you don't have to be that person. You get to choose out of it and choose into being the person that you know that you really are at your core. And that person is someone who probably laughs quite a lot, and someone who probably has like a massive capacity to feel things. I think people who have, you know, anxious feelings and anxious thoughts, we're very feely, you know, we feel like empaths, and we pick up on everything around us, and you can either see that as a blessing or as a curse. So start to use it in your favor.
Totally. And like I said before, just, you know, if you're even a little bit intrigued by what just took place, then follow up and, you know, click the links. We're going to talk about a freebie in just a second, but, you know, just try it. Just, you know, the worst case scenario will be you try it and you don't like it, well then that's fine. Like, listen to the next episode. There might be something on there for you instead. But, you know, I think EFT has been the most surprising thing. And I've done a lot of different things. And I actually love all the energy-based stuff. I'm really interested in it, and I feel very drawn to it. And the more I do, the more interested in it I become, and the more it excites me. It's like, oh my God, you know, like even when I went to my hypnotherapist, I remember coming out and going, oh my God, I'm going to write a list of all the other stuff you can help me with, because this was amazing. So, you know, just know that you don't have to stay where you're at, and you can take a step in any direction you like, and that, you know, there's enough episodes on this podcast now where you can take your pick. You know, there'll be something there for you for sure. So, Georgina, we've mentioned the freebie a couple of times. If somebody wanted to maybe give this a try, but they're not quite ready to invest money into it yet, then how can they get more of a feel for what you do?
Well, I've got a YouTube channel, so you can go and check that out. I've got a few, I mean, there's all sorts on there. There's me just kind of like ranting, and then there's me doing EFT and whatnot. So if you look up Georgina Noel EFT on YouTube, you'll find me. So there's stuff there. But also, if you want specifically, there's a freebie that I have. Now, it isn't opt-in, so if you give your name and email address, you're added to my mailing list, but you can very easily unsubscribe immediately if you just want the freebie. I won't take it personally. I created it because I want to help people. So feel free to take it, and you can stick around if you want to hear more of my madcap ravings. Or if you're like, no, that curly one, she's a bit strange. I've got curly hair. You can't see me. I forget. We're doing this on video, but I forget that you can't actually see me. But the audio is a little bit of a training to help you understand what overwhelm is and why it feels so scary. And I know that a lot of people with anxiety or who suffer with depression, overwhelm can be quite a big thing in our lives. So it's a tapping and a meditation as well. So you get a bit of a tapping script to tap along with, and a meditation as well. So it's like quite a cohesive little bundle. And I'm going to give Lily the link to that so that you can just click on it and sign up.
Cool. And we'll put that in the show notes, and I'll link to the YouTube channel as well that you mentioned. So how can people find you online? Where do you hang out mostly?
The place that I hang out mostly is on my Facebook page. And so that's Georgina Noel. I think the is at GNoelEFT.
Yeah.
I'm also on Instagram at Georgina Noel EFT. You Yeah, so those are the best places to find me. My website is so out of date because I barely use it. I'm such a social media whore. I'm just on there all the time. And I find it's such a nice way to connect with you. People get to really know you, and I get to really know people, and it's,
I agree. Yeah.
Hang out there. So, yeah.
Cool. So we'll link to all of that in the show notes as well. And I'm going to be inviting Georgina into the Facebook group for the Confidence Academy as well for the podcast. So if you want to get over in there, you can tag Georgina or me in any questions you've got, any comments. If this video has given you an aha moment, if it shifted you, if you're feeling excited, if you're shouting, what the fuck is this? Like, whatever, we want to hear from you. We want to know. Get in there and tag us. Let us know your comments. Let us know your questions. If you loved the podcast, go and leave us a review. If you thought it was shit, don't bother. Come on, let me keep my 5-star status. And so yeah, somebody gave it 2 stars the other day. I was like, oh, come on, just get on with your life.
You know what I've got for them? 2 fingers.
Yeah.
How dare they? How dare they?
I was like, oh man, come on. Like, you could have just not bothered. But anyway, never mind. That's a whole other thing. Fabulous. And just to finish off, as we do with everybody, if you had a megaphone and the ability to reach all the anxiety sufferers in the world, what would your inspirational message to them be?
I feel a bit emotional, actually, even thinking about that. If I could genuinely have a megaphone and tell them all something, I'd be like, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be fixed. You're just going through some shit. You've been through some shit. Please don't let it define you. Please just know that you are so much more than you could ever possibly imagine, that you are so deeply loved and that you are so fully supported, and you're so much closer to feeling the way that you want to feel than you are allowing yourself to believe. So just keep moving forward. Just keep taking steps in the right direction, shifting your thoughts to all of the good stuff that you want to call into your life, and just remember, you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You're perfect just as you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I have nothing to add. Just perfect. I love it. Georgina, I bloody love you.
Oh, you too.
Love hearts through the screen. I love it. This has just been absolutely brilliant. I have to get you back on.
Yeah.
So I'll put all the links to Georgina's stuff in the show notes, as I said. I hope you guys listening have had as much fun as we've clearly had. I'm a little bit sorry that they couldn't see the video. There was a lot of very large arm gestures going on.
I can imagine you can feel them in the energy.
In fact, at the end there, where I asked Georgina to impart her last words of wisdom, the first thing she did was fling her arms in the air. It was like, bring me the knowledge that I can bring to the people.
It was
brilliant.
just like calling it down from above.
I know it was. Like the dog from above. That was a TV show in England. Like, if anyone's listening not from England, you'll be like, okay, they've totally lost their shit now.
They've gone now. They've gone.
Yes. It's on a whole other level. Oh, I love it. I can honestly say we haven't been drinking. This is the power of finding someone who's on the same energetic level as you. When you find your people, it's just fucking brilliant, isn't it?
You can say whatever you need to say and you don't feel judged. You just get to be you.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode as much as we have enjoyed making it. I can't even form a sentence. As ever, if you have questions, suggestions, or anything you want to talk about, get into the Facebook group, tag me in there. Or you can email me, lilybadcock@gmail.com. Don't forget to join the members club, because Georgina is coming. She's coming, and you will see her on video. Da, da, da.
Oh yeah.
And we'll do some tapping. We'll be matrix imprinting.
I might wash my hair for you.
Oh my god! I can't promise I will, but it might happen. Who knows? It's going to be epic. If you're not already in there, get yourselves in there. You would be crazy to miss out. So I will put the link for that too. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening, and remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. I love you all loads. Bye bye.
And that's us done for another episode. I hope you are now feeling uplifted, inspired and motivated, and ready to start making those positive changes starting today. If you love this episode and would like to connect with me or any of my amazing guests, then get on over to the Facebook group and join the conversation there. And for additional support and accountability, why not become a member of the Confidence Academy Members Club? You will find all of the relevant links in the show notes beneath this episode. Plus, I am so excited to announce that the Singing Club is back. This is my amazing 8-week programme for people who have always wanted to learn how to sing. Singing has been and continues to be one of the main ways in which I keep my own anxiety at bay. I believe almost anyone can learn to sing, and if it's something you've always wanted to do, then you just have to be part of this next round. The programme will run live via a private Facebook group where you can get feedback and support from me and the other group members. And the best part is, when you pay for this programme, you are a member for life. That means that every time I run the course, you can come through it again and again as many times as you like, regardless of how many updates and price changes there may have been. Head on over to lilybadcock.com for the full details. In the meantime, I'll be back again soon with another new episode and more amazing guest experts. But until then, look after yourself, dream big, and live bigger. And remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it.